Welcome to the Psychology and Physical Training channel, Introduction to Research Problems. Ever wonder why some research projects succeed while others fail? Well, the secret often lies in the preliminary stages, in the identification and formulation of what we call a research problem. So, what is a research problem? Simply put, it's a statement about an area of concern, a condition to be improved, a difficulty to be eliminated, or a troubling question that exists in scholarly literature, in theory, or in practice, that points to the need for meaningful understanding and deliberate investigation. It's the question you're trying to answer in your research. Now, why is a research problem so important? It's because it sets the stage for your entire research project. It guides your investigation and your arguments. It helps you focus your research, come up with a methodology, and interpret your results. But not all research problems are created equal. A good research problem has certain characteristics. First, it must be clear. This means the problem is well-defined and well-articulated. It's not vague or ambiguous, it's specific and to the point. Second, it must be focused. The problem should be narrow enough that it can be researched within the given time and resources. If the problem is too broad, you may not be able to cover it in depth. Lastly, it must be researchable. The problem should be one that can be solved through scientific methods. It should be empirical, meaning it can be answered through the collection and analysis of data. The quality of your research problem can often determine the success of your project. A clear, focused, and researchable problem can guide your research process, help you make effective arguments, and lead to meaningful and useful results. On the other hand, a vague, broad, or unanswerable problem can lead to confusion, weak arguments, and inconclusive results. Remember, a well-defined research problem is the foundation of any successful research project. So, spend the necessary time to identify and formulate a good research problem. It could make all the difference. Identifying a research problem. So how do you identify a research problem? Well, it's a bit like finding the right puzzle piece in a jigsaw puzzle. You look for something that fits into the broader picture, but also has its own unique shape and form. In the realm of research, this puzzle piece is your research problem. Research problems can come from various sources. They can emerge from academic literature, where you might find gaps in the knowledge or contradictory findings that need further investigation. For instance, you may come across a study in psychology that suggests a certain type of therapy is effective for anxiety, but another study disagrees. This discrepancy could form the basis of your research problem. Practical issues can also be a source of research problems. Have you ever noticed a real-world problem and thought, "I wish someone would research that"? Well, you could be that someone. Let's say you've observed that people often feel more anxious after scrolling through social media. That's a practical issue that could become your research problem. Existing theories can also inspire research problems. Psychology is rich with theories, from Freud's psychoanalysis to Bandura's social learning theory. These theories often raise questions that can be turned into research problems. For example, social learning theory might prompt you to investigate how children learn behaviors from their parents. But remember, it's not just about finding a research problem, it's about finding the right one for you. You should choose a problem that is interesting, relevant, and manageable. It should be something that you're passionate about, something that contributes to your field of study, and, crucially, something that can actually be researched within your resources and time frame. In other words, your research problem is like your North Star. It guides your research journey, keeping you focused and on track. But like any good star, it should also be bright enough to ignite your curiosity and compelling enough to capture the interest of others. Identifying a suitable research problem is the first step towards a successful research project. Formulating a research problem. Once you've identified a problem, how do you formulate it into a researchable question? This is the third step in your research journey, and it is as crucial as the first two. Let's dive in. Formulating a research problem is like creating a roadmap for your study. It guides you on which paths to take and which to avoid, ensuring that you reach your destination, the answers to your research questions. The first step in formulating a research problem is defining it clearly. What exactly is the issue you're investigating? The clearer your definition, the easier it will be to structure your research. Think of it as putting a name to the face of your problem. A well-defined problem is the foundation for the rest of your research. Next, you need to establish the relevance of your problem. Why is it important to investigate this issue? The relevance could be theoretical, practical, or both. For instance, understanding the psychological effects of social isolation could have significant implications for mental health practices. Your research problem must mean something to you, but it should also resonate with others in your field. The third step is determining the researchability of your problem. Can it be investigated scientifically? If you're studying psychology, for instance, is there a way to measure or observe the variables you're interested in? It's important to ensure that your problem is researchable to avoid hitting a dead end down the line. Throughout this process, keep in mind the importance of specificity and clarity. It's not enough to say, "I want to study stress." Instead, try something like, "I want to investigate the relationship between stress levels and academic performance among undergraduate psychology students." The latter is specific, clear, and gives you a direction for your research. Formulating a research problem can feel like a daunting task, but remember, it's all part of the journey. You're not expected to have all the answers right away. It's about asking the right questions, the ones that will lead you to new insights and understanding. Formulating a research problem correctly can make or break your research project. So take your time, think critically, and formulate a problem that will guide your research to success. Types of research problems. Did you know there are different types of research problems? Just as there are myriad questions to ask, there are equally diverse problems to research. These research problems typically fall into three categories: descriptive, explanatory, and exploratory. Let's start with descriptive research problems. These are all about painting a picture with data. The goal here is to describe a phenomenon or situation in as much detail as possible. For example, a psychologist might use a descriptive research problem to study the effects of stress on sleep patterns. The aim isn't to explain why stress impacts sleep, but simply to describe the relationship in detail. Then we have explanatory research problems. These problems go a step further than descriptive ones. Here, the goal isn't just to describe a situation, but to explain why it's happening. So going back to our stress and sleep example, an explanatory research problem would aim to uncover why stress affects sleep patterns. This could involve looking at biological mechanisms, psychological factors, or a combination of both. Lastly, there are exploratory research problems. These problems are about exploring new territory, often in areas where little research has been done before. They're all about asking questions and seeking answers in the vast unknown. For instance, a psychologist might use an exploratory research problem to investigate a newly identified mental health condition. Now, why does the type of research problem matter? Well, it directly influences your research design and methodology. For example, a descriptive problem might call for a case study approach, while an explanatory problem may require a controlled experiment. An exploratory problem, on the other hand, might necessitate a qualitative research approach to gather in-depth insights. Remember, the type of research problem you choose should align with your research goals. Are you aiming to describe, explain, or explore? Your answer to this question should guide your selection. Understanding the type of research problem you're dealing with can help guide your research process. So, as you embark on your research journey, always keep in mind the nature of your problem. It's a compass that can navigate you through the exciting world of research. Recap and conclusion. So, what have we learned about research problems? Well, we've covered quite a bit of ground. We started by discussing the characteristics of a good research problem. It's not enough to simply have a question or an idea. A solid research problem is specific, it's researchable, and it's significant. It's a problem that can be studied using scientific methods, and it's one that will contribute to our understanding of the world. We then shifted gears to talk about how to identify a research problem. This isn't about plucking an idea out of thin air. It's about observing the world around you, reviewing the existing literature, and identifying gaps in our current understanding. It's about asking questions that haven't been asked before, or taking a new angle on old questions. Following that, we dove into the process of formulating a research problem. This is where the rubber meets the road, where your vague idea becomes a concrete research question. It's about defining your problem clearly and precisely, setting your boundaries, and identifying your variables. It's about making your research problem manageable, measurable, and meaningful. And finally, we looked at the different types of research problems. Descriptive problems, relational problems, and causal problems each have their own unique challenges and opportunities. Understanding the type of problem you're dealing with can help guide your research design and methodology. Throughout all of this, one thing has been clear: a well-defined research problem is crucial to the success of a research project. It's the foundation on which everything else is built. Without a good research problem, your research is like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly in the sea of knowledge. So as we wrap up, remember that your research problem is not just a starting point, it's a guiding light. It shapes your research, it directs your efforts, and it defines your contribution to the field. Next time you embark on a research project, remember, a good research problem is half the battle won. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, do not forget to subscribe and follow to the Psychology and Physical Training channel for more videos. Thanks for watching.